Thank you for joining us. My name is Gilbert and I'm the CEO and co-founder of eMsika. We recently wrote an article titled The Modern Education System, and in that article we spoke about how one is no longer limited to the idea of sitting in a classroom at specific times for them to learn anything. Despite the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic being terrible and devastating, it made room for a lot of innovation across the world. One of them for us at eMsika is how we deliver information to farmers. You see, prior to the pandemic, we followed farmers to their residential areas to educate them on how to farm as a business, sometimes even having classes in the heat of the sun. Now, we get to reach a much wider audience who are young, old, experienced, and even aspiring farmers in the comfort of their homes or wherever they may choose to take their lessons from. Anyone is at liberty to attend any class at any time and study at their own pace using our recently launched platform, apunzile.com. In full words, Mlimi Apunzile. On this platform, we get to work with professionals from different fields: agrochemicals, livestock, plant diseases, and so on. If you would love to be part of this global community like I do, you can access our e-learning platform by simply going to www.apunzile.com and pick from a wide range of programs that we have made available for you. We look forward to seeing you there. Please remember, no farmer, no food. Thank you. Hi, thank you for joining us. My name is Gilbert and I'm the CEO and co-founder of eMsika. We recently wrote an article titled The Modern Education System, and in that article we spoke about how one is no longer limited to the idea of sitting in a classroom at specific times for them to learn anything. Despite the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic being terrible and devastating, it made room for a lot of innovation across the world. One of them for us at eMsika is how we deliver information to farmers. You see, prior to the pandemic, we followed farmers to their residential areas to educate them on how to farm as a business, sometimes even having classes in the heat of the sun. Now, we get to reach a much wider audience who are young, old, experienced, and even aspiring farmers in the comfort of their homes or wherever they may choose to take their lessons from. Anyone is at liberty to attend any class at any time and study at their own pace using our recently launched platform, apunzile.com. In full words, Mlimi Apunzile. On this platform, we get to work with professionals from different fields: agrochemicals, livestock, plant diseases, and so on. If you would love to be part of this global community like I do, you can access our e-learning platform by simply going to www.apunzile.com and pick from a wide range of programs that we have made available for you. We look forward to seeing you there. Please remember, no farmer, no food. Thank you. Hi, thank you for joining us. My name is Gilbert and I'm the CEO and co-founder of eMsika. We recently wrote an article titled The Modern Education System, and in that article we spoke about how one is no longer limited to the idea of sitting in a classroom at specific times for them to learn anything. Despite the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic being terrible and devastating, it made room for a lot of innovation across the world. One of them for us at eMsika is how we deliver information to farmers. You see, prior to the pandemic, we followed farmers to their residential areas to educate them on how to farm as a business, sometimes even having classes in the heat of the sun. Now, we get to reach a much wider audience who are young, old, experienced, and even aspiring farmers in the comfort of their homes or wherever they may choose to take their lessons from. Anyone is at liberty to attend any class at any time and study at their own pace using our recently launched platform, apunzile.com. In full words, Mlimi Apunzile. On this platform, we get to work with professionals from different fields: agrochemicals, livestock, plant diseases, and so on. If you would love to be part of this global community like I do, you can access our e-learning platform by simply going to www.apunzile.com and pick from a wide range of programs that we have made available for you. We look forward to seeing you there. Please remember, no farmer, no food. Thank you. Hi, thank you for joining us. My name is Gilbert and I'm the CEO and co-founder of eMsika. We recently wrote an article.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. We just want to say thank you for giving us this opportunity to even train you on this wonderful training and irrigation, farm irrigation. We have our partner Amiran with us, who are about to train us. If you don't mind, we'll ask you to just go on YouTube, eMsika Services, like our video, subscribe to the channel, or live on YouTube. Also want you to even like our Facebook, eMsika Services and Mulimi Apunzile. I am from eMsika, under the Apunzile team. My name is Emmanuel Cornelio Piri, your host for today. Our trainer is ready. Mr. Manga, may you please step in?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Naboth Mwanga, coming from Amiran, Zambia, from the Irrigation Department. And our focus today, we are going to talk about the irrigation systems that Amiran offers. Specifically, our brand is Netafim irrigation systems. Netafim irrigation systems is Israelite, and of course they've got stations in South Africa. So we'll talk about our product that we use in irrigation systems. We'll also talk about the different types of irrigation systems that Amiran offers. I would like also to mention to you that I would like also to talk about the source of water that we as farmers experience or do have, because we've got different sources of water. So we'll talk about that. This morning, I'll emphasize on maybe one or two crops, which may be cabbage and tomatoes, and the suitable irrigation systems that you can use for such crops. And the reason why we are recommending you to use such type of irrigation systems for those crops. And also, I'll briefly talk about the land preparations that you can do for those crops and how you can maintain the soil moisture and of course, water management. I'll also talk about the systems that we use when we want to apply fertilizers to our crops. I'll talk about that, and of course, so many other options for irrigation systems. I'll also talk about the do's and don'ts of drip irrigation systems and the sprinkler irrigation systems. So feel free. We'll, of course, allow questions to come from you participants. Feel free to ask where you need to have clarity. We are here to help you through. To begin with, we all know what irrigation is, or drip irrigation system is all about. But I just want us to bring to you the point that we understand more of what drip irrigation system is. Drip irrigation system is a practice of applying small amount of water and fertilizers uniformly across a specific area. I hope we are together. Maybe mixing some Nyanja language or even some other languages here for understanding purposes. So we are saying drip irrigation system is a practice of applying small amounts of water and fertilizers uniformly across a specific area. Drip, you may all be aware that when one mentions the word drip, what comes to mind, we always think about the drip that we receive in the hospitals when they are putting us water or any other medicine. That comes to our mind. In a similar sense, that is how the drip system for irrigation purposes works. They've got emitters at specific points which drips water to the roots of the crops that we want to irrigate. So that is, in simplicity, the simple definition of the drip irrigation systems. Now, the irrigation systems that we offer, like I said before, is a brand from Netafim. And also, this covers a wide range of the varieties in irrigation systems. So now allow me to talk about the types of irrigation systems that Amiran offers, which is supplied by Netafim. We've got the drip irrigation systems. We also have the sprinkler irrigation systems. We also have the subsurface type of irrigation systems. Let me talk about drip irrigation system that we supply. This comes in various forms. We've got what is called the family drip kit. That is more like a backyard garden type of irrigation system, which covers about 500 meter squares. We also have the 1 acre drip irrigation system. We also have the 1 kit irrigation systems. Now, there are certain instances where a farmer would like something that is customized, something that may fit the farm arrangement. We also customize the drip system to fit your needs. So we design accordingly to what you need, so that we cater for what you require for the field. That is about drip irrigation system. Now, the drip, when we say customized, we want this to fit to your need. Some farmers may have some peculiar type of land formation, which maybe these kits may not fit. So we design and fit in your arrangement. The drip system that we are talking about comes with the drip lines, and the drip lines vary from crop to crop. For instance, if we are doing, for those who are doing, let's say, sugarcane, there is a specific Netafim drip lines that we use because of the spacing between emitters. The spacing is much wider. It may be 60 centimeter or 80 centimeter. Now, if you are doing other crops like vegetables, tomatoes, we also have drip lines that accommodate such type of arrangement because the crops may be planted closer, much closer than the wider crops. So the spacing between the emitters comes closer to 30 centimeter. These are Typhoon 16 that we offer, and these we may call them for general purposes because they cater for almost all the vegetable crops that you may think of. Mention them. Can be cabbages, rape, green peppers, whatever you may think of planting in terms of vegetables that will fit the arrangement that we have in terms of the drip lines. No wonder they are more of a general use, unlike those with the wider emitter spacing. The overhead, let me talk about the overhead sprinkler formation that we also offer. When we say overhead, it's much wider. You may have the sprinklers. We may also offer you the microjet system. Allow me to show you when I talk about sprinklers. I'm sure we all know, we have seen this before. These are sprinklers. It's just a sample of what we offer. Though these are smaller, they cover a radius of about 9 meters. So we are talking of 18 meter diameter when it completes its rotation. But we have much bigger sprinkler formation that covers a bigger radius, the so-called rain guns. We have those that may cover a wider distance or spacing that you may require. This is about the overhead or the sprinkler type of irrigation system that Netafim supplies to Amiran. I'm sure you know the sprinklers. We also have these. These are called the microjet systems. These are called the microjet systems. Of course, their coverage varies. Like this one, the one that I'm holding may cover a radius of 1.5 meters. And when it completes its rotation, it does 3 meters. Many have been using this for vegetable growing because they emit water to the required standards that the farmer would want. I talked about the rain guns. The rain guns, they cover much wider of a space, closer to 46 meter diameter of the area. Now that is dependent with the pressure that we may have in the system. So when we say the pressure in the system, this is not measured by our naked eyes. We need to calculate for you and find the correct accessories or drip system or the sprinkler system that you are going to use for your field. Many are times that farmers are being misled just by way of seeing how the water is coming from could be the tap or the poly pipes in the field, we are deceived to say, oh, me, I've got pressure in the system. And when the system is installed for you, it fails to work. Why? Because we need to calculate these specifics for you, for us to arrive at the correct irrigation system that we are going to prescribe for you. That's about the irrigation, the sprinkler irrigation systems that we offer, which is applied by Netafim. We also offer what is called the subsurface, but subsurface in many cases it works well with those who are doing sugarcane because the drip lines are embedded in the surfaces of the beds. So we do offer that as well, and this system is supplied by Netafim. Let me emphasize on the crops that we may discuss today. Let's talk about cabbages. Yes, you can do cabbages for using both drip irrigation systems and overhead irrigation system. Why have I picked cabbages? Because it works for both the drip irrigation system and the overhead irrigation systems. You may wonder, why don't we use like overhead sprinkler irrigation system when we are irrigating tomatoes, for example? We do not recommend to use overhead or sprinkler irrigation systems for tomatoes because tomatoes and tomato leaves and water may not occur very well because they become infectious because of the water that attach to the leaves. The foliage becomes unhealthy. You experience a lot of diseases when you use overhead sprinklers on tomatoes. Our advice is do not use overhead irrigation systems for tomato growth. The question that you will ask, or you may be asking right now is, but what happens during the rain season? Oh yes, we can't run away from the rain seasons. The rain seasons are here for us to benefit. But you may also have realized that during the rain seasons, most of the crops like tomatoes, they experience a lot of diseases. And for example, if you may not be affording to buy particular chemicals to work against that, that won't be very much for you, very good for you. So do not do tomatoes with overhead irrigation systems. Maintain the drip irrigation systems because water will go direct to the roots of your crops like tomatoes. I was talking about cabbages. Cabbages can allow any type of irrigation systems, either the drip irrigation systems or the sprinkler or overhead irrigation systems. You may use the sprinklers. You can also use the microjet systems for cabbages. Let me repeat. For cabbages, you are allowed to use the overhead irrigation systems. Whether you choose the sprinklers or the microjet systems, this will definitely work very well for you. Now, before I go further, let me just go back to where we started from, about what we offer. If you're a new beginner, for you, we've got the small arrangement, the family drip kit, about 500 meter squared. You can begin with that. We also have the 1,600 square meters. We offer that for starters. And of course, you graduate. One thing that I want to emphasize, when we use the Netafim products, which Amiran supplies, we are going to take you through. We've got a competent technical team that will take you through from the point of purchase, even installations. Even these drip kits that we are talking about, they are also the do-it-yourself systems. You can install them by yourselves. They are easily being installed by farmers, and you set your ball rolling. So they're easy to install on your own, and you go on. The reasons that I am emphasizing on the drip systems that we offer is that, one, they are much affordable, and they keep your crops much healthier. The foliage is healthier. You also save water. You save water. There's no wastage of water when you use the drip irrigation systems. No more water wastage, because the water that drips from the emitters will directly go into the roots of the particular crop. In this regard, the cabbages. So even the way you plant these cabbages will matter in this regard. Many are the times that farmers, and of course the business market, asks, why do we have smaller cabbages on the market? Is it the varieties that we have, or is it the varieties that I might have bought? No. The reason why many farmers are having like smaller cabbages is the way we are planting. It's the way we are planting these cabbages, for example. What is the spacing between cabbage to cabbage, between plant to plant, between line to line? What is the spacing when you're doing under drip? You need to ask all those questions. You need to ask all those questions. At what spacing will I do my planting? They recommended you can do anything between 35 centimeters to 40 centimeters. You can work with that. Only then will you see the bigger crops in terms of cabbages. It's like you are planting, for those who have planted onions, they will tell you that when they put their plants closer to each other, that's when they have smaller portions of the sizes of onions. If the spacing is much wider, the onion crop will be bigger. In a similar sense, cabbages, if you put them closer to each other, you have a smaller crop. And so you see now your clients will be now complaining, you have been supplying me smaller cabbages, size of cabbages, while your neighbor there has got bigger cabbages. Because these are tactics and antics that many farmers do not know. So even when we are setting a drip irrigation system for you, and you are doing, for example, cabbages, we are going to set it in a way that will allow you to come and harvest bigger sizes of cabbages. That, of course, will help you to have a positive income to what you had initially put in the beginning. Maybe I allow for questions at this moment before I proceed. If there are any questions, many you could forget where we are coming from. can I allow maybe 2 or 3 questions? Then we proceed.
Sir, I think you can continue. We'll
Okay.
get back to the questions at the end of the session.
Okay, thank you. Yes. So, let me just talk briefly about the sources of water that we have as farmers. We are getting water from different sources. Others are getting water from the water wells. Others are getting water from the ponds, lakes, canals, dams, boreholes. Yes, these are acceptable sources of water because they vary from place to place and individual to individual. All these allowed sources of water that we have as farmers, and we encourage you to continue having such sources of water because they are quite affordable in this same arrangement. My emphasis: whenever you are putting up an irrigation system, I've seen some of the farmers that I've visited. They have been crying, no, my drip system is not okay. They've got so many reasons, but when you check the technical layout of the irrigation system, it is not installed in the normal arrangement it's supposed to be. They don't have the filter. A filter in drip irrigation system is an important part of the arrangement. It plays a very important role in the drip irrigation systems. If you have done any drip system without the filters, please, this you go right now and just have it uninstalled. You have to install the filter in the drip irrigation system. If you are using the drip irrigation system without the filter, stop it. You need to stop it right away. The filter, why have I'm emphasizing this? Because of the sources of water that we are having. We are having a different sources of water. So now, whether we are getting water from the water wells, whether we are getting water from the ponds, dams, borehole, always remember to have a filter installed for the irrigation system. If an engineer was supposed to advise you to have your drip irrigation system without the filter, please just tell them that this is not allowed. As Amiran, all our systems, they have the filters. Even if we are going to do a designed one, a customized one for you, we'll make sure that the filter is installed for you. Why? The filter, simple reason, it filters all the dirty particles that you may have in the water systems. Some of these particles, we may not see them by our eyes. We may not see them because they are tiny. They are small, they are tiny, we can't see them with our own eyes. But when they go past, as they approach the filter, they are trapped by the discs in the filter. So, periodically, maybe after 3 days or 4 days, you need to clean your filter and insert it back. You need to clean your filter and insert it back. If you do without the filter, or even in the presence of the filter, you have seen that, you know that our water that we have is full of calcium. You may find that the dripping points have got calcium, the white things. our old aquifer has got calcium. So most of it is trapped by the sprinkler, by the filter. Hence the need of putting up the filter in your system. Let me emphasize, put the filter in the drip irrigation system. That is why the reason why Amiran, with the products that we use from Netafim, they all have the filter arrangements. These, they help us to filter the water that will go, the fresh water that will go in your drippers. Also, if the system allows, we'll encourage you to install what is called the Venturi system or the fertigation tank system. You may ask, what is this Venturi system? This Venturi system, which Netafim supplies Amiran, allows you to fertigate or to put fertilizer in your crops. We designed our system to allow that Venturi system be installed. This time around, many farmers, whether small or big farmers now, they have been asking for our Venturi system to be installed in their systems because they have seen how they are working. You may ask, how does this thing look like? Sorry, this is just a sample. If you're able to see, this is just a sample. This is a Venturi system. This portion that I'm pointing here is a Venturi system, though this one is just a 3/4 Venturi system. We've got different sizes from 3/4, 1 inch, 1.5, up to 2-inch Venturi systems. We may not have this arrangement, but we are going to design another arrangement that will accommodate the proper functioning of this Venturi system. So this Venturi system allows you to put fertilizers in your drip system to fertilize your crops. The way it works, you can use the bucket if you've got a smaller field. You can even use a drum if you've got a bigger field. Okay, so there's a pipe that we install. It sips water or fertilizers, soluble fertilizers for that matter. It sips into the system. Let me emphasize, this system works with pressure. So if you don't have enough pressure in your system, this Venturi system will not perform to your expectation. That's why we come in and work out. You can see if you've got enough pressure in your system and recommend the correct size of the Venturi system that Netafim supplies to Amiran, and Amiran in turn have it installed for its clients. The Venturi system helps because it will allow you to put fertilizers for every crop that you have, meaning each and every plant that you have will receive an equal amount of fertilizer at the same time. You agree with me that when you plant your crops, others they are looking smaller, others they are looking bigger than the others. Why? Maybe our farm workers, they may get tired when they are applying these fertilizers manually. Let's assume that you are doing 1 hectare, 1 hectare of cabbages, and remember, at an area of 1 hectare, that is 100 by 100 meters, you plant about 40,000 heads of cabbages. Now, if you are applying these fertilizers manually, by the time you are reaching halfway, you will have been feeling your back aching. Not so. I'm sure you agree with me. Now, with the use of the Venturi system, you are going to do your soluble fertilizers in either your drum or a bucket, and you insert the pipe. It will start sipping those fertilizers, soluble fertilizers, into the system, and each and every crop will receive an equal amount of fertilizers at the same point. That's why you'll find that certain farmers are able, when you visit them, their plants, whether tomatoes, cabbages, whatever they are planting, they are almost looking equal to each other. Even the color similar to one another. Why? Because of the proper way of doing things. The Venturi system is here, and it's here to stay, and you can benefit from it. But let me emphasize once again, we'll need to work out proper sizes for your Venturi system, because I've seen most of the farmers, they come, oh, I need the Venturi system. What size of the Venturi system? Just give me a 2-inch. 2-inch. What water pressure are you receiving in your system? Oh, no, I forgot. I don't know. But water, when you put water into the poly pipe, you switch it on. The way it looks, there is enough pressure. We don't measure pressure like that. We need to work out and calculate for you and prescribe the correct Venturi system that you need to use for your field. Let me talk also about the land preparation before you do your in collaboration with the irrigation systems. Yes, what you do if you have been supplied with the irrigation system from Amiran, we are going to advise our farmers to prepare the land readily available before the installation of the irrigation system, except maybe the beds can be done once the system is installed. Then you can do your beds. Now, how do you prepare your land? I'm sure we are used as farmers to the way we will prepare. Others they disc, others they plow before there's so many ways of doing it. But my emphasis is that you need to know what type of your soil that you have at your farm. Is it acidic? Okay, is it acidic? Of course, if it is acidic, we advise you to apply agricultural lime, so that it helps, of course, to stabilize the acidicity of the soils and the pH of the soils that you may have. So before you plant, you apply the agricultural lime. Others, they also apply the cow dung or the chicken manure. But remember, when you apply all that, you need to give it time before you plant. Pre-irrigate your land portions before you plant. Pre-irrigate, watering your land before you plant any of your crops. Do not apply your manure, could be chicken manure or cow dung, and or the agricultural line, and you immediately plant. That may not so very well on the types of on the crop. You may find that maybe the entire field is bent, and now start saying, no, I bought this crop from Amiran, just planted a week later, 2 weeks later, it seems yellowish, it's bent. No, when you apply, you are preparing your land. You apply all those things like chicken manure, pre-irrigate. Others, they pre-irrigate 7 days before or 14 days, 2 weeks, which I assume is the correct way of doing things. You pre-irrigate, then you make your beds, or you make your beds on top. You apply your manure, pre-irrigate. Then after a period, you do your planting. The manures that you have applied will not guarantee you that you have done away with maybe cutworms. You may also require to drench your portions of where you are going to plant with the anti-cutworms. Of course, on chemicals, we've got the sections for chemicals, and an agronomist will be able to take you through that. You apply the recommended chemicals, and then you do your planting. You do your planting. When you do your beds, others for cabbages, for example, they do the beds. The beds that we may recommend to you can do 1.5 meter width to 1.8 meter width, and on top, of course, that's where you align the drip lines at sections of 45 centimeter or 40 centimeter between the lines. And of course, remember the planting, 40 centimeter, the plants should be 40 centimeters apart, 35 to 40 centimeters apart. That will come after now you have applied all your manure on your beds, and then you align your drip lines on top of your beds and pre-irrigate using the same drip line systems. Pre-irrigate using the same drip line irrigation systems. Others, what they do, when they do the land preparation, before they even align the drip lines on top of their beds, they start now using the conventional way, the traditional way of irrigating, spraying water with buckets all over. Now that may cause at points erosion, soil erosion, and the landscape of your beds may now start differing from one after the other. So use the same drip lines, the drip irrigation systems that you have installed to pre-irrigate. It's like now you are training your irrigation system. So use the same irrigation system that you have installed to pre-irrigate before you do your planting. Let me emphasize, use the same drip irrigation system to pre-irrigate your land. If you're using the overhead irrigation system, do not use anything outside your arrangement. Use the system that you'll be using always, if you decide to go with the sprinklers or any other type of overhead irrigation system. Doing so, you will have prepared your land to before the planting, and you'll see that this will help you in maintaining your field and to irrigate for you to have the benefits out of your projects. Remember, doing these projects for the sake of doing projects. No, I heard my friend is doing. we are in business. Remember, farming is business. We want to make profits. That's the advantage of using the drip irrigation systems. We want to yield profits out of what we have invested in. So we need to keenly follow the standards that are laid before you by the technical team that you are going to work with. Ask questions where you are not clear, and Amiran, whether our technicians are trained. Our technicians are trained. They will take you through. They will train you from the onset of the installation, even after you have started your project irrigating, where you don't understand. Ask them. We're going to take you through the whole project until you learn. Even the workforce that you have at your farm, allow them to come closer as the installations are done, so that they learn from the onset of this project. This will help you to have your investment back. Be consistent. Be consistent. Certain farmers, once they have this particular project drip, they have set up a drip, they have invested a lot in this drip irrigation system, they plant. At the harvesting point, they find that their cabbages, for example, they are selling at 2 kwacha. What they had in mind was 8 kwacha. What they have found on the market is different. Many farmers get demoralized, which is not supposed to be the case. Be consistent, because prices do change with time. The moment that you feel relaxed, that's when now you hear you hear that the pricing is now, they have skyrocketed upwards. What do? Is that the point that that's when you start now doing your irrigation systems and the likes? Let us be consistent. We are in farming business. No wonder we are called farmers, because we are feeding the masses. We eat on a daily basis, isn't it? We eat every day. The population is in need of the food. Now, who's going to produce that food if we are relaxed? No one. So we need to remain consistent. So as I was talking about land preparation, I partially touched about how to set up the drip irrigation system, but I'll also talk about it again. There are kits that we offer as Amiran, Zambia. Like I mentioned, we've got the family drip kits, 1 hectare drip kits. These are do-it-yourselves. You can install on your own. If you do not understand, we will set up a team that will help you have the system installed. We'll set up a technical team that will help you have the system installed. So whether these are customized types of arrangement, of course, the customized one will definitely require our technicians to be on site, doing the installations for you. But even on the kits that we have, if you don't understand how to go about them, having them installed, we can do the installations for you. We can set up the system for you and keep it running. That system will also help you to maintain the soil moisture that you require. Now, when we talk about soil moisture, and the seasons do change, like now we are going into the hot seasons. farmers will start complaining, no, I'm not having enough water. How do you know that I'm having enough water when you don't have the irrigation system that is required? When you're using buckets to water your crops, when you're using just a hose pipe to water your cabbages or any other crop, how will you know the moisture content of your area? It will be difficult, isn't it? It will be difficult. But the Netafim irrigation system that we offer will help you to know that. Because, for example, we offer something that the drip lines that help you to know that each emitter is giving you 1.6 liters of water per hour. 1.6 liters of water per hour. So it's easier for you to know that, okay, for example, if I irrigate 4 hours, I will have so much quantities of water in the system. You can even see with your eyes that at least the moisture content in your field is just okay. Others, they go with their fingers, they dip it in the soil. It's easy to tell. Now let's use the traditional way of irrigating, the buckets, the buckets you doing your fields. By the time that you are finishing the other portion, water is already gone. You go to the other portion, how are you going to tell? It will be difficult for you to tell. So with the drip systems that we have, it's very easy for you to maintain the moistures in your fields. It varies. Others they do their irrigation early in the morning, others late in the afternoon, others between the afternoon time. Though I emphasize the noon time when it is hot and you are irrigating, you are fighting with evaporation, isn't it? So maybe early in the morning, you start your irrigation. As a farmer, you need to be waking up very early. You prepare your field and the irrigation system. Very early in the morning, you switch on the valves in the system and do something else. The drip irrigation system also will help you not to experience a lot of weeds in your fields. You will have nothing much to do with the weeding of your fields because there will be just minimal, a few weeds that you will be experiencing. It will help you do that. So moisture content of your land with the drip irrigation systems that Amiran offers will help you to maintain that. Others may wonder about the drainage system methods. Others in irrigating, they have been using the drainage systems, but it works very well when you plan it very well. It works very well, but of course, there is quite a wastage of water in the long run. You may do your drainages for irrigating purposes, but you need to use quite an amount of water for your system. So the irrigation system that with the drip irrigation system helps you to manage your water very well. It helps you to manage your water very well. I know some are asking, but it's still the sprinklers, the water that is going around because of the sprinklers is a wastage. No, it's not a wastage. That's why we offer a variety of sprinkler system with minimal radiuses to cut the field that you have. For example, if you are doing a one limaer field, you want to use a sprinkler system, there are specific sprinklers that we offer that are supplied by Netafim. That will just cater for such a particular area. So even the designs that we do will make sure that there's no water wastage in your irrigation system. I talked about the fertilizers and the use of the Venturi system. This is a point that I want to emphasize now, the mixing water with the fertilizers. So we've got a team of agronomists which is going to take you through how you mix the water with, of course, the recommended fertilizers with proper ratios. They are going to advise that to you. And if you're using whether you're using the Venturi system or you're doing it manually, they'll advise the ratios on how you're going to mix the water, the fertilizers with the water. Let me emphasize, with the use of the Venturi irrigation system, the plants or the crops will receive an equal amount of water at the same time. We also have, mind you, we have chemicals that will help you clean the drip lines. We've got Superlink. Superlink, when you inject it through the Venturi systems, it will help you to unclog the emitters that you may have clogging experiences. They'll go and unclog, and they will have no effect. The chemical does not have an effect on the crops that you are having. So on the mixtures of the fertilizers, our agronomy team will help you. Will help you through that. Let me talk about the quantities, the quantities that you may require on particular crops, the quantities of water that you may require. This comes together with a package that we have for the drip arrangement. Like I told you, we've got the drip lines or the drip systems that emits, for example, 1.6 liters of water per hour. We've got others that emit 1 liter of water per hour. We've got even 2 liters per hour. This is dependent on the crops that you are doing. But generally speaking, if you are in general, if you are using, for example, we are irrigating cabbages, tomatoes, the ones that we are having, the 1.6 liters of water per hour, they are very good for you, because 1.6 liters of water is not little water in an hour. And now imagine that you irrigate for 3 hours. That's quite a lot of water in a day for a particular crop. So particular crops vary with the amount of water that you may require. Let me talk about the options that we have for irrigating crops. It's more like the ones that I've talked about, the microjet irrigation systems. These jets, they come in types. We've got spreaders, what we call spreaders. They produce water like in an umbrella form, conical form. We've got this one which sprinkle at a particular radius, for example, 1.5 meter radius, which you can also use to you do citrus if you like. We also have the sprinklers, which covers the radiuses. The radiuses vary, 9 meter radius, 12 meter radius. We've got now the big guns, which we can supply to you, and they cover a much wider area. So this is all I wanted to discuss with you this morning. And I don't know, the host is going to allow questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mamanga, for that wonderful training. Just want to say thank you for everyone who is joining us on YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share. We also want you to, if you don't mind, just drop a thumbs up if you enjoyed the training. Like our Facebook page, Mlimia Punzile, and eMsika Services. Right about now, we've reached the session for questions. If you have questions, please drop your questions down below. Okay, we've got a question from Kelvin Chama. It says, what should be the size of the pipe where drip liners are connected for tomatoes?
Come again?
What should be the size of the pipe where drip liners are connected for tomatoes?
Okay, that's a good question. The size of the pipes where the drip lines for tomatoes are connected vary. Now, what matters most is the water supply. The water supply will help us to prescribe the type of the size of the pipe that you need. I'll give you an example. For example, you are having a source of water with a pump of 7.5 horsepower. Then I say let's use a 32 millimeter poly pipe or PVC pipe. Will that work very well? You may be limiting yourself in terms of the efficacy in terms of water supply. It's like you want to talk openly and somebody squeezes your neck. How will your voice come out? So the lines or the pipes where you tap the drip lines from will vary to the water source that you are having. If it is the 1 horsepower submersible pump that you are having direct from the bore, we are going to prescribe that for you. But the point is, they vary. The main lines vary. You can use a 40 millimeter. You can use a 50 millimeter poly pipe where to tap those drip lines from. But let me emphasize, if we are doing, let's say, a customized irrigation systems for you, for those who have worked with Amiran, you may see that we may install what is called a main line for you, and then a sub main where we are going to tap these drip lines for tomatoes from. Maybe it will vary. It can be a 50 millimeter, it can be a sub line and a main line together, so that you have a volume of water that will compensate on the pressure in the system. Remember the spacing for tomatoes. Our tomatoes spacing is 1.5 meters from line to line, because these are hybrid varieties that we have. So in short, the lines, the pipes matter. They vary from size to size.
All right, thank you very much. We also have another question from Fakazi. He's planning on doing cabbages this next coming rain season. So he was wondering, should he do cabbages fed by the rain or overhead?
Yeah, he's talking about two things: planting in the rain season and also overhead. When he's doing overhead, it means that he has to do it before the rain season, isn't it? Right now, they can do the planting of cabbages. But in the rain season, they can be done. The agronomist will be able to help you through to take you when is the correct time to do your planting of cabbages. But like I emphasized earlier on, at times when during the rain season, you need to prepare yourself for particular chemicals that will help you to maintain to sustain the cabbages that you may do. The best people to help you through is the agronomy department. They'll help you to take you through on that one.
All right, thank you. Also have another one from Edward Lungu. Says he uses plastics for various plants at home in a small way. Is it possible for him to employ irrigation?
He uses plastics?
Yes, yes.
Now, like irrigating using plastics. Yes, it's possible to do a backyard garden irrigation system. Yes, it is possible. If you have visited Amiran Zambia's head office, there's a demo that we have done. It's a backyard garden type of arrangement that we have. So you can also do such type of an arrangement. We can work out something for you. You can do it.
Okay. Mwada Ndonga also asks, if you already have the drip system not bought from Amiran, can you still engage Amiran experts to come and educate you on the best way forward?
If you have, repeat the question.
If you already have the drip system and it's not bought from Amiran, can you engage Amiran experts to come and educate you on the best way forward?
Okay. In many cases, we tend not to come in such like a manner, because remember that that is not an Amiran product, and we don't want to put our reputation at stake. Remember, this is supplied by somebody else, much as it may have similar components. Okay, it may have a similar component arrangement like that, but as Amiran, we may not involve ourselves to work on a system that is not supplied by Amiran. It's not in our policy, company policy.
All right.
But maybe just a technical advice to help you how to work out, you can seek for advice from our technical team. But have it installed for you, we don't.
Thank you very much, sir. We also have another one from Paul. Do drip lines need to be installed on a level field, or they will work properly on small slopes?
Drip lines are installed anywhere. You can install anywhere, but that is the advantages of using the drip system. You can have it installed anywhere where there are slopy landscapes, level landscapes arrangement. You can have them installed. Drip lines, they are on the advantage side because they will help you not to have soil erosions in this regard. So you can install them anywhere you want, whether it's high level lands or the low ones, slopy ones, you are allowed to install them. Let me emphasize also on the same point. The direction in which that you are going to install your drip irrigation system will matter most. The agronomist will advise you that in many cases you are doing your plants, your lines from east to west because you want the airflow to be sufficient, unlike doing it in the other direction, like north south. You do it or slanty land formation. The drip irrigation systems will efficiently work very well.
Hello, Mr. Muvanga.
Good morning, sir.
I think I would also want to add the fact that we also have a special type of drip lines called pressure compensating drip lines, especially where you have issues of slope or where the terrain is undulating. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ian. Thank you. I hope that is clear.
All right. We also had a question from Unique, but it's been answered by Mr. Ian. He said, "Can I use drip irrigation for winter maize?"
Oh yes, you can. You can. Of course, the spacing, like I'm saying, the spacing from crop to crop will vary. Definitely, you can. Winter maize, you can use drip irrigation.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. The next one is coming from Yanda. I want to know the recommended length in relation to the pressure.
The recommended length for drip?
Yes, in relation to the pressure.
The pressure. Yes, like Ian has pointed out, we also supply pressure compensating drip lines. Okay, so from that you can tell that when we supply you with the pressure compensating drip irrigation drip lines, they sufficient, of course, supply water to wherever you want. But let me emphasize also, the point that I mentioned earlier. The question is, where are you getting your water from? The source of water will matter. How far is it distance from the source of water to the field where you want to set up your field will also vary. No wonder I emphasize, like Yan is asking, we'll take you through, the technical team, we will take you through and of course calculate for you how long. You can even do 50 meters of drip lines. You can do them 60 meters of drip lines. But the question is, where are you getting the water from? So we'll help you through with that, and you never regret.
All right, thank you very much, sir. I think that was our last question. I just want to say thank you to you, sir, for giving us this wonderful training. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. All those from YouTube, just want to say thank you. Please subscribe to the channel, drop the thumbs up, and also
before you conclude, just for interest purpose, I wanted to the audience to know that Amiran is, of course, a one-stop shop for all your farm needs that you may require. We've got the hybrid seedlings for all the vegetables. We have, of course, the agrochemicals to protect your crops, like I have been emphasizing. Of course, we have the irrigation systems, even the greenhouses, we offer that. And we can couple the greenhouse supply and install the drip irrigation system for the greenhouses that you may need. We also have the T&I, of course, department which offers the security solution systems like the Motorola radios, the CCTVs that you may need for your farm protection, and of course the warehousing that you have. Of course, you may contact us on our Facebook page, and of course the LinkedIn page. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Please remember, We are from eMsika Services. Amiran is one of the suppliers on our website. You can just go to www.imsikaservices.imsika.com. You'll find all your farm inputs there. Amiran products are all over there. We have over 50 products from Amiran. Please, I wouldn't hesitate to go and check out that shop. We also want you to like our Facebook page, eMsika Services, and Mulimia Punzile. Remember, there are more trainings coming. If you want more trainings like this, please like our pages, like our YouTube channel. Remember, on Sunday, we also have another training with Mr. Zunga. I wouldn't want to miss that. It's on soil testing. Please stick around. We'll be there. We'll start at 20:30 to 21. Any final remarks, Mr. Mwanga?
I think all is said, and now we are looking forward to working with all our farmers. Don't feel shy that you are just a startup. You are welcome. The best thing to do is to start. Unless Ian has got something to say as well. Ian, are you around?
Yes, I'm around.
Anything?
Even with a single bed of tomatoes, we can start.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you very much. No,
thank you very much.
Let me just thank the Amiran team. Thank you, Mr. Mwanga. Thank you, Mwangala. And thank you, Mr. Ian, for joining us. I also want to thank our CEO, Mr. Gilbert Mwale. Thank you for being with us. The Apunzile team, Ezekiel, Sandra, and Chibesa. Thank you, everyone. I've been your host, Emmanuel Cornelio Piri. Thank you for joining us. And remember, no farmer, no food. See you soon.